เมื่อมองดูนกพกพินบินลับไปเมื่อมองสายชนถึงไหลริน
That is actually the most powerful place. And then that way, when I rock forward, also don't look up, just look straight or down, okay? So when you're doing things like don't, go like that with your head. Just go straight or go soft focus. Because if I look up, I can't see him. If I look forward with soft focus, I can see him. If I look down at about 45 degrees, I can see everything without staring at it, without looking at my hands, right? So I don't look at my hand. And also, it's collapsed and comfortable. I'm not pushing down at all, okay? I'm just here. If I rock back a little bit, I'm very light. If I rock forward a little bit, I get heavy. And so there's my real gentle application of pressure, my continuum. So don't punch. Be sure not to do that, not even when you're flowing. Because if you punch when you flow, you'll punch when you go. Because you've keyed in this idea of this little bouncy or this little punchy or this little pushy thing. And actually there is no, from my point of view, I never push down. I rock my center of gravity forward, and that's where the pressure comes from, is I just rock back and forth. And there's no up and down, okay? So this technique is not a push up and down, okay? It's a rock back and forth. And that's a practice too, right? Because if you rock too far, you'll feel like you're going to fall over forward. And if you're too far back, you don't feel like you're sitting into the points, okay? And they don't feel the structured pressure that you want them to feel, okay? And so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, right? But it's like this. If I was flowing, I'm just going to just go smaller movement. That's what makes it lighter. Smaller makes it lighter. I don't push lighter, because all I have to do to push heavier is go a little farther forward. And now I'm heavy. See? Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. Fingers forward. Now turn the palm back. Don't help. Now turn the palm back and do the same thing again with the palms, fingers to the back. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. 3 puts me on the notch on top of the shoulder, okay? So as tight as I can get without choking, middle, all the way out without sliding. 3 hand positions. Same for this, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. But my hands are not turned straight to the back because they don't fit. There's about a 45-degree angle. They're turned to the back. I don't try to, over-rotate my arms to be able to face them straight back. It's not. It's actually quite comfortable. And the second hand position is more strong than the first. In other words, the pressure, if you're doing this right, the client will feel more pressure on the second palm than they did on the first one. So this is good, but this is not as strong as this. This is actually more pressure. Why? It's because the way that now, instead of having the 2 bones, the radial and the ulnar, the base of the wrist, being parallel with the line of the trap, now I'm turning and there's one on each side of the line. And actually the way that feels pressure-wise is different. They don't feel the same. Okay. Now sit back. Actually scoot forward a little bit. You guys come over here, make sure you can see what I'm doing. Okay. Now put your hands on the mat. I want you to keep your elbows locked and strong. Okay? Not your shoulders. Shoulders relaxed. Elbows, that's the bendy part in the middle of the arm. Okay? Notice when I said elbow, you flex the shoulders up. Okay? Again, there's just this little intrinsic disconnect that a lot of people have when sort of following directions. All right? Now, we have several sets of lines here. And I want you to organize them as if it was a wagon wheel. You know, like an old-timey wagon wheel. Okay? And right here is the axle. And so the axle of the wheel is C7, the protruding bone that indicates the end of the cervical spine and the beginning of the thoracic, lumbar spine, thoracic spine, the rest of the back. Okay, that is the center of my wheel. Okay? The outer wheel of the wheel is a circle that goes from the base of the cranium, atlas axis, point of the shoulders, bottom of the shoulders. So this is the wheel. Okay? It has two spokes that go down, two spokes that go out, and two spokes that go up. Okay? So you see how I have a wheel with four sets of two spokes. Those spokes are the sin lines. Those are actually the lines I want to work. Okay? Now I have to back up, and then I want the front foot pointing straight ahead. Okay? So whatever way I'm going to guide my chi, my prana from the belly forward, I'm going to have this foot pointing in that direction. So this would not be out. Okay? Why? Because now I'm pointing over there. Okay? But I'm not going to push over there. I'm going to push over there. And then I want the base, the attachment of the patella tendon, the front of the knee, also to point in the direction that I want my lunge energy, or this is actually a warrior posture, and I want my lunge energy to go in this direction of the knee too. Why? Because the patella tendon's on the front of the knee, and the strongest angle to support the knee is straight in line with that tendon. If I turn my foot out, now the medial collateral attachment is what's actually pointing forward. And when I rock forward, I will put pressure on this connective tissue, not this connective tissue. And this connective tissue is half the size. Actually, it's smaller than half. It's about 1/3 the size of the patella tendon. So when I go this way in my lunge, I'm actually 2 times stronger in support of my knee than if my foot's turned out and I go forward. This, it is now the second I rotate that foot out when I do a forward lunge in any other direction than where the knee is pointed, I just open the door to creating a knee injury to me. Just open the door. Now, whether I do or not, no, it's a whole different thing. Maybe I can do this, 100 times, and I won't have an injury, and one time I will. I'll overextend, and I will. Because it's it becomes a habit to kind of duck walk when you lunge, okay? I call it lazy lunge, okay? So I'm always, every chance I get, every time I see it, I'm always going, point your foot in the direction you want to go. Point your knee in the direction you want to go, okay? The next thing is the back foot. And we don't forget the back foot. Just because I'm focusing on my hands, or I'm focusing on this, and I got my knee, got some attention there, well, I'm not lazy on my back foot. You tuck those toes under, okay? By turning the toes under on the back foot, neurologically, you change in your brain how you relate to this posture. This is strong, this is weak. Neurologically, it actually is part of a, a reflex, because it's instant. As soon as the toes are out in this posture in the lunge, my lunge actually is weaker. I cannot push as hard. As soon as I turn those toes under, I'm actually stronger. I can actually push harder. Actually, let's do this. We'll do a little thing. Everybody get up in a lunge. Are very precise. One is the bottom inside corner of the shoulder blade, the scapula. So don't go down here, because the scapula, the end of the shoulder blade, is right here. So the bottom point is right here, okay? The top point is not even with the round C7. That's the axle, okay? So I'm off the spoke, right? The top is the width of the thumb below that, okay? So below that, aside that, above that. That's where the lines start. So these two lines start here and go to here, not to here, okay? Because right there where the last point is on the two middle lines, lower middle, as I go straight out, okay? Straight out, okay? Out, out, back, out, all right? And then from the same point that I ended here, same point that I started here, but the thumb width above, I imagine the lines continuing above, okay? And then it's to the hollow spots at the base of the cranium, and that's the next line from here to here, okay? And then that's up, down, up. Now, the butterfly technique, okay, technique is, I want you to notice that there's a gap. I'm not on the spine. I'm the width of my thumb. If I had a no-fly zone on the vertical process here, the width of my thumb, okay? So I want to be close to that, okay? But I don't want to be on that. Close to it, but not on it. But at the same time, I don't want to be one iota wider. Because if you look at the acupuncture chart, the inside bladder line is right there. So here's the thumb, here's the inside bladder line, right there, okay? The outside bladder line is the width of the thumb outside that, right there. So here's the inside bladder line, here's the outside bladder line, okay? So if I'm out here, I'm only working half of what I want to work, okay? Because there's not one line here, there are two on each side. I'm just, for reference points, I'm saying these are the two spokes. But each of these spokes itself is two lines, okay? So really, more accurately, it would be like this. With 4 fingers, I could draw it. Okay, so how do I work 2 lines with 1 butterfly? Okay, rolling thumb, right? That's the purpose of the rolling thumb, is to start on line A and exit on line B. That is the purpose of the rolling thumb, all right? So the first part is always with the fingernail. So to get the fingernail to bite into the line, look how I have to tweak my wrist over to turn the thumbnail in, right? But if I do that, that means my hand is over the spine clearly, okay? If I do it with both hands, because it's butterfly, you should not be able to see my thumbs, nor should I, because I've turned them in so tight that I have the thumbnails are what are digging into the back, okay? And so see how I have skin contact at the base of my thumb, right? And then what I do to press, see my arms are straight, but I've turned the wrist in, and then I lunge forward with a little exhale, and then at the bottom, I just gently flatten my thumb to the pad, and then I rock out. And then I go to the next point. In, roll, out. In, roll, out. In, roll, out. And it's not round, it's in, flat out, square to the spine, and release. Now that's up, down, up to do the whole section. And also, there's no, again, it's not punchy. It's not like this. That's not it. Pretend I'm working on royalty. Okay? So I'm not gonna just knock them around. Okay? I'm not gonna just bump and jostle and kind of bang into them and be abrupt. And actually, that first contact is always going to be gentle, like almost like a sneak up on the point. Okay? It's almost like a sneak up on them. Okay? Because the Thais have this concept of scaring the Quan. That when you're too sharp, you're too abrupt, you're too rough, that actually causes a kind of injury. The injury is the Quan or spirit of those points wants to be somewhere else. And actually, what we're doing is kind of Mat Quan Ban. We're calling the spirit home to the point. We don't want to move the spirit out of the line. We want to kind of, hey, you know, hey, come on, come back. It's more fun over here. You know, come back. You know, and then when the Quan, which is the spiritual intelligence of the point or of the line, is more strongly there, okay, more conscious, if you will, then the point will regulate. They will clean up. The Quan will clean house, okay, more than I can. So here we go. 1, and see, it's easy. And again, how do I press? It's just, I just shift my body weight. If my knee doesn't move forward, neither does my thumb. So you can't do this properly without the knee going like this, because that tells you the pressure is coming from below the navel, because that's this line right here. That's where the energy is being generated. All right, so now I went up, down, up, and then once I get here, okay, the first time I do this, it's still a rolling thumb, okay? It's not the squeeze yet, okay? So I'm going to go in, and I'm going to work 5 points on this angle. So I'm kind of on the back side of the trap. I started palm pressing on the top line here, but now I'm actually on a different line. This is the back line that is supra-spinal line. It's just above the scapula, okay? But it's not on top. It's just back here. So I'm just going to go 5 points out, 2, 3, 4. As far as I can go comfortably is fine. But generally speaking, they're the width of the thumb apart, okay? And so I'll always finish on the out. All right, now, before I do the singularities of the lines, I still do bilateral and butterfly on the neck. So I move up a little closer, tilt the head down, again I'm back here, and then I start with the first couple of points, and then slowly raise my elbows as I work up, and there's not a lot of pressure here because the head is not supported. And again, the roll is straight, square to the cervical spine, square, okay? It's not, these two are not supposed to be heavy ever. It's not about the pressure, it's about the attention. It's not about the pressure, it's about the attention. So nice and easy, and there we go. It's really kind of thing, it's kind of rolling thumb and name only, okay? All right, so now I go here, up, down, up, all right? Now I'm gonna get up closer, okay? Why? Because now I'm gonna do the kneading and squeezing thumb, kneading and squeezing thumb, and I'm gonna get those elbows up here as big as I can. I'm gonna flex my crane wings, right? As high as I can get my elbows comfortably, and then this is where I am gonna dig and knead, and dig and knead, and dig and knead, and dig and knead. This is actually the same line that I worked here before, out, back, out, but I'm also squeezing with my fingers as I dig and knead, dig. Okay, so this is what we call a natural thumb technique, because it's the kind of thumb technique that your boyfriend does on a date when he's trying to get laid. It's the kind of thumb that you do on your grandma. It's the kind of thumb that untrained people do when they get a hold of your shoulders and they just kind of get in here. Except untrained people tend to use this part of their thumb, which is not good. You want to use this part of your thumb, always under the nail. Okay, don't use the joint as your massage tool. Why? I've seen lots of therapists who never learned that lesson, and over time the joint of the thumb becomes arthritic and inflamed. Okay, and eventually it'll collapse. Okay, so here we go. We do 5 points, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? All right, now we're back up here, and we have the 2 points here at the base of the cranium. Turn the hands up, okay? And again, you can't put much pressure here in this position because there's nothing holding the head up. It's about the acupoint, the lung. It's about bringing energy, attention, consciousness, breath, and pressure to the cranial base points. It's not about how hard you push, okay? However, once we kind of get in here and just warm it up a little bit, then I go both knees down, okay? Sit back. I'm in those points, okay? Hands surrounding the ears. All right, notice the wrists are down. So I'm kind of have contact with my thumbs on the inside of the thumb here. Why? Because when I come up and I rotate the head up and bring them back, now the base of the head is on top of the pads of the thumb. So it went from here as the contact point. As the head rolls back, it settles on top of the thumb. Okay? If you start here, by the time you get here, it's over here somewhere, and this is super weak. This is super weak. This is super strong. This is super weak. 3 points on the thumb. Weak, strong, weak. Okay? So, tilt. And see, I come up like this. See how I'm kind of Hunchback of Notre Dame. I'm exaggerating my posture here with the bilateral broken bird's wing. So I get in here, side of my thumb on the point, fingers over the ears but not in the eye. And I take a breath, and as I exhale, I sit back and rotate until the head is facing the ceiling. Now, I don't go with it. Don't do that. Settle down this way, right? Because you could do this. You could work the third eye while you're in this position, okay? But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my elbows, catch the weight on my thumbs, drop my elbows, and push straight up, really as far as I can until it feels like I'm about to rock forward again. But it's like pulling the cork out of a bottle. The cork being the head coming off the top of the atlas axis at the cranial lobe, cranial base lobe, and I push up and in, nice and firm. And if I needed to rock a little bit because they feel a little stiff to me, to get them to settle on top of my thumb, that's fine. 2, 3, 4, 5, and forward. Snake thumb up the back of the head, up, down, up, finger circles into the temple. Grind until you can hear it. Listen. Got it? Okay? Now what I want to do before I go any further is Namaskar Mudra. Okay? And again, Namaskar Mudra is actually Namaste, for you to be well. And elbow point, if I lay this part on top of the shoulders, when I raise my hands, this part will dig. Okay? So it's a combination, don't worry about looking at it. It's a combination of flat arm, okay, on top of the flattest part of the trapezius. And I bring him back until I can just comfortably sit on that point. My elbows are as tight together as I can get without choking my client, okay? So first thing is we're going to warm up the shoulders. So it's rock forward and back, change position. And I only have to move this far because I'm only going to get 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. I don't want to be on the bum, all right? So start high and as tight to the neck as you can get without choking and rock forward. 1, little wider, 2, don't lift, slide, little wider, 3, don't lift, slide, back in, 2, all the way back in, 1, okay? and then it's push forward and arch and rock and look down. Don't look up. Down. 1. Release forward. Okay? Then step up tight to the shoulder. Okay? And stand up straight. Line the jaw up with the inside line here between the two bones. Point the way you want to go. Don't flex the head. Just point the way you want to go. And then the inside corner of the knee goes 180 degrees the opposite way. When those two go down together, if the head is up straight, vertical, when I do those two things together, I go to resistance. Okay? For flow, that's as far as I go. For treatment, what I do is I go to that resistance and then a little further. And what I'm trying to do is get the point of the chin to go over the point of the shoulder. Okay? Come back to center, neutral. Okay? So it's flat part, push forward, points make contact, and then arch. The purpose of the points is to get this part of the back right here to arch. If this doesn't arch or open up, then all I'm doing is getting him to lean back. Leaning back is down here. I'm trying to get a lean, if you will, a bend up here, not down there. So that's why we have these are neurologic points also, okay? Control points, we would call them, right? So by pinning these and then pushing forward and lifting, I can actually get this part of the spine to bend, okay? So we're here, down first, push forward to get the elbows involved, and then look, as I sit back, see how I'm lifting as I'm going up here, but look what my butt's doing at the same time. And then pulling them into the arch. Here, now we go the opposite way. And a little flex at the end. And back to center, flat. Push as I push forward as I raise my hands in Namaskar Mudra. Keeping those elbows projecting, as I come back, he'll get the biggest bend that he can. And back. Love it, love it, love it. Nobody does this. Now, both for this line and the facial. Line from the outside of the ears to the crown of the head, and I draw a line center of the head to there. That point, that is the point Baihui, that is a crown chakra point. If the chin is forward, let your chin go, let your head go, like this, then that puts a point. It was here, but now it's here. I think this is the top of the head. But actually, now, tuck your chin in and sit up straight. And now we see that this point is forward. It doesn't go through the center, okay? So the actual center is a little bit further back than most people think. Where the crown chakra is, it's not on top here. It's only on top here if you're like, this is your posture. You know, collapsing. Feldenkrais people would lose their mind. Okay? They saw you like this. Okay? It's got to be, now it's up here. See, it moved back that far as soon as I straighten up a little bit. Okay? So I have to be that straight spine for them. I turn them a little forward. You see, when you're sitting up straight, when you think you're sitting up straight, the chin is up. Okay, the chin has to be down and tucked for you to sit up straight. So he doesn't know that. He's my dumb client. So I have to turn his chin down and bring him back up a little bit to follow the ears See how, as I'm adjusting the head, see how my fingers are already there to catch the line of the ears? And then I can, it saves me a step. I'm lazy. Oh my God, anything I can do just to save me a step, I'm just going to do it. Okay? Now from there, okay, I turn my toes in, and I have a little flex in my knees. That gives them some stability, okay? But also, it's grounding and centering for me, and then I don't curl over and look down. I know this bowling ball I'm on top of is his head, so I don't have to keep looking at it to see what I'm working on, right? So now I'm going to do reinforced thumb, not rolling thumb. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, finishing at the real hairline, okay? And then I'm going to go out the width of the thumb on each side, and I'm going to do 5 points going back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back to center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Leaves me at the hairline, so thumb circles out, back, out on the hairline, always going to the ear. Touch the ear, in front of the ear. The point we're looking at is the hollow point behind the jaw in front of the ear. The hollow point. Okay? Now, tilting back so I can see that face. Okay? And we have 12 lines. Okay, so it's upper forehead, middle forehead, lower forehead, first 3. Eyebrow, point number 4. One of the few we do 3 times. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4. Okay, then we have upper nose, middle nose, lower nose, but still above the nostril. Okay, so the 3 lines on the nose, 3 lines on the forehead. Okay, then below the nose, we have first point is the maxilla point above the mouth, halfway between the lip and the nose, and say there's a line there, but I don't work it really. Then outside corners, second line, under the mouth, third line. So we have 3 lines, 3 lines, 3 lines, right? So the lines are divided into 3s. We have an eyebrow point as an extra line, and then we have the front of the jaw, or the actual jaw line, as an extra line, and then we have under the chin, following behind the jawbone, ending back at the same point we work all the others. That gives us 12. Okay, so there, just going to be press the center, and then draw the line, and end up in that hollow space in front of the ear behind the jaw. 1, press, draw. Not so hard you burn the skin, but positive contact. And then when you get to the eyes, you pull up slightly on the inside corner, because it's not flat across the eyebrow. It's actually on a little bit of an angle, almost 45 degrees. Like if you push like this in the corners, okay, push like this, go ahead. You push like this, now draw that line on the ridge, on the occipital ridge, on the eyebrow ridge, and then when you get to the outside of the eyebrows, just go right to the ears. Okay? So you have this angle on the eyebrows. Okay? So we call that eyebrow line. Okay, I don't have to look at it, I can feel where it's at. But that line starts with a hook into this first 2 points right here. Now, you can do it with your thumb, or you can hook with your index finger like this. You can do this line with the fingers, okay? So depending on the person, I might really feel like this is what I want to do. So I hold it, I pull up in it, I hold it just for a second or two to establish my starting point, and then I just press down and push out. And then when I can get to 2 fingers here, I continue with 2 fingers until I'm in front of the ear, and then I make my circles. Okay? Nice, and they're firm circles. Don't be too tickly or too light here. You want to have always positive contact. Now, top of the thumb, I touch the top, touch these points, touch, touch, touch the top point, but then I split because the 2 starting points or just at the base of the thumb under the eyes. Now, here's a rule. Under the eye line, first nose line, okay? Use half the pressure you use on the other lines. Half the pressure. Why? Because the collagen fiber of the under the eye is the thinnest in the body. It actually is the thinnest in the whole human body, and it's because the eyes, I guess, are so expressive, right? So we need little restriction to our expression. And also, where are we going to put the bags, right? So if you friction too hard across that collagen, you can break it. You can break it. And actually what then happens is the skin sags more than it's ever inclined to do. Okay? If you go light, it's stimulating and you can actually tighten it. So light across the collagen will react and can actually shorten and tighten. Okay, a little stretch and it stretches a little tighter and you have less circles, less bags, no damage. Heavy, you can actually break it and it will stay saggy. Okay? So there are people walking around today with bags under their eyes from bad facials 5 years ago. Okay? Because no one told them. They didn't know. Okay? So the way I start with the lines on the nose, see how I have all my fingers here? This is so I have the rest of my hand is helping to graduate the pressure. See, if I'm up like this, or I'm up like this, I'm less sensitive. I have not as good an idea how much pressure I'm applying. Okay? So it's here, and then I push down. But really, I'm only working with my index finger. And you can see the line. See where it turns white and follows my finger? Okay? Pause. There are 2 acupuncture points right there. Okay? Come across. Pause. There are 2 points dead center below the eye on that line. And then come right on out. See how it went to 2 fingers. There's my circles. Now I can use all of them if I want. And then I come to the next one. Come out and I'm halfway down the nose. Pause. Push in there. The 2 long. There are actually 2 acupoints right there that start. This is below the zygomatic arch. So now I'm hooking under across the bottom of the cheekbones. And I come across and circle in front of the ear. And now I'm on the end of the nose. Okay? Be careful not to go in the nose. Some people do. They're like, and they're all up in your nose. So you touch on the end, come out across the nostrils, and then just outside in the crease of the nostrils are 2 important acupoints, or loam, and you push in there, right there, and then push down a little bit and go completely under the zygomatic arch. As you come around, sweep up in front of the ears and do the circles. Okay? Maxilla is more of a point, an imaginary line. I don't work the line. I just take my thumb, okay, and I put it dead center right there and I push that point. That's the acupoint. Okay? Now I'm going to come out. I have a diamond pattern on the mouth, on the points. There's 1 here, 2 here, outside the corners of the mouth, just outside the fold. And 1 here, dead center below. And see how those 4 points make a diamond? Okay? So remember that so you can hit those points, right? So it's thumb and then sweep without much pressure. Now get outside the mouth and make them smile. To make them smile, you push down on the points and then you turn up. Okay? You push down on the points outside the corners of the mouth and then you turn up. And then you get some tissue there and drag that out. Now you can stretch out to in front of the ears. Bottom, press the point, static, and then make it 2 lines across the front of the ramus. So the name of the jawbone here is called the ramus. So push straight out across the ramus onto the mandible, bring it back up in front of the ear and circle. And then the last is take your 2 index fingers right tight together, get up under here like they're 2 fish hooks, and go up under the ramus into that little hollow place there. It's not going to be comfortable. And hook up and pull up under the bone just for a second. And then with your fingers, draw under the bone. So you can feel the jawbone in the flesh of your finger. I know you want to escape. Stop. All right, and hook up, and you're going to come down. You're going to feel the lymph nodes bumpy, kind of bumpy and squishy under you. That's good. That tells you you're in the right place. Turn the corner, pull up in front of the ears, and do your circles there. Now you can let them rest.
There we go.
Takes longer to talk than it does to do it, okay? And gently find the flap on the front of the ear. Okay, quick. Name the flap. What body part?
Tragus.
Correct. It's called the tragus. Okay? So from here, I pull back so I'm on top of the flap and then close it. So I'm not going in the ear. I'm clearly on the outside of the ear, outside of the flap. And then I turn my hands out, okay, and push in. Now when I do that, what I want to do, so I came back until I was on the flap. Tree here is my back knee. I want even with or on this side of the center line of the back. So I do not want any part of my leg here. Can you see? Move if you can't see. I do not want any part of my leg here to cross the center line of the back. Okay? I want it clearly on the side I'm working on. It can be right next to the line. I can bump up against the line. I just can't cross it. All right? Now, you have to know where you're going before you grab the hands. Don't grab the hands and then try to negotiate where you're going to go. Already have the idea in your head, because you don't want to hang out here. This is not like we're going to just get into this position and camp out. Okay? So first, see how I get right behind and I frame the hips, under and over. Don't grab. All you need is finger pressure. Now, if her hands are too high, if they're up on the head, it puts leverage against her neck that doesn't help. In fact, she'll fight it because she'll try and counterbalance the strain on her neck. So if the hands are up here, for whatever, no, let me adjust. If the hands are up here, okay, which is kind of nice flat line, it looks nice, but it's too much leverage against the neck, okay? So I want the fingers crossed, okay? Just enough room, one at a time. Don't try to grab both at the same time. Sometimes that doesn't work, okay? All right, so far so good, and no downward pressure yet. Now it's just light finger pressure. I'm not going to slip because her arms are low enough, okay? Now I'm going to move at right angles. So she's facing that way. She's facing the blackboard, the whiteboard. So now I'm not trying to twist her. I just move over here until I'm in a good place. See how I brought my knee back across that center line? And light pressure here. Don't lean on it. See how I can lift it? You should be able to lift it. Okay? Now, pointing at my knee, I push her toward my knee. And then in a flat circle, so the first circle is high. The second round is lower, going across my knee. And then the third is as low as I can get her to go. Keeping her low as long as I can. And see, all this, now this is just keeping her, look here, see how I can pause anywhere. And see how I'm controlling whether she falls or not. This knee is not passive. And it's not nailed down. See, I can still move it if I want. Then I bring her to here. Nice, take a breath. And keep your hands, don't let go. See, the breath is with the lungs. The let go is with the fingers. So when I say take a breath, don't let go of the fingers. They're unrelated, not connected even. Now I just kind of inch over. Look, the little steps. Don't be in a big hurry. Little steps is okay. And now I sit. Look at me. Sit up straight. Check your seat. See, I'm strong. I'm balanced. I'm comfortable. First circles are up here. Don't try to go down. They're up here. Breathe. Don't hold your breath. Don't help. Don't you help. And then I gradually wind her down to my knee. When I get to my knee, keep it the level of the knee around as long as I can. Breathe. And then we go down as low as we can comfortably. Hey, you're helping.
Sorry.
And then we come around, breathe, and fall, and breathe, and fall, and breathe, and fall. Oh my God, and breathe, and fall, and fall, and fall. See how I'm controlling? It's not passive. Comes back, come to me. That's my safe place. See? Come to me, right? Back to center, and back. Let your hands drop. Straighten your legs. Sit up straight. See, I have to be on my knees. See, I use my posture corrective adaptive mechanism. Posture corrective adaptive mechanism. My PCAM, also known as my belly.
Core.
Also known as, oh yeah, core. Hada. Let's get all sacred. Okay? All right, so scoop under the elbows. And when we get about here, let your belly push out to flatten the back. Take a big breath. Exhale and fall forward. I do not go with her. No reason to. Once she gets down wherever she's going to go, I back up and step out into my lunge. Tight to the body, and what are the rules again? Front foot is pointing the way I want to go. Front knee is pointing the way I want to go. Back foot is back here. Toes are turned under. My body is upright and strong. And I go as low as I can without slipping off. Okay? Big breath, inhale, and 1. Drop the hip in. Don't push. Drop. And back. Point number 2. Inhale and exhale. Let it go. And drop the hip in. Don't bend over. Don't push. You sink. Let's see how I can camp out here. She can relax. She can release if I want to. Inhale. And back to the first point. If you're too low, you'll end up doing this. But see, I only go as low as I can go and still have my arms straight. Why? Inhale. Exhale. Because as I come forward, I'm now on top, or more on top of the back. And also look at my posture. Okay? Just really take it in. All right? And then inhale. Okay? Get a hold of the trap to pull her upright. Right? Mm-hmm. Trap. Get a hold of it right here. A little squeeze even. All right? I'm going to change knees. This knee goes down. This knee goes up. Okay? Take a big breath. Exhale and fall. Pause before you lay them out so you don't bang their head. That also short circuits a reflex, a protective reflex. And then gently lay them down and then go to the feet. Yeah.
Do we not do the knee points in the back?
Lean the client forward slightly. Mm-hmm. Okay? So that you can come up onto the above the hips. Okay. So you have to lean them forward a little bit to give you a platform. Okay. Then when you pull straight back. Don't lift. 1. Okay. And then come up one at a time. And then 2. Mm-hmm. And then back down to 1.
Heard that.
Okay, now drop your hands.
That's all.
เมื่อมองดู